Well, hiya, Book 2. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to do a tag for you. I've gotten behind on a couple of tags, and so I wanted to try to get those knocked out. And the tag that I'm going to do for you, it's been going around BookTube this last week, is the what tag. I saw it on several channels because it's been going around, but the one that I watched first was Vin at Revenant Reads, and he tagged me in this. And it was created by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis. And as Steve Donahue pointed out in his video, Mark has been like explosive in creating these tags, and he's really been on the ball, and he's outdoing all of us. And so I wanted to do some of these tags. I know he recently tagged me in another video, and of course I've been school has gotten very, very hectic. Track has started and everything, and so I'm behind on watching videos, and I wasn't aware I got tagged in the other one. So I'm going to do the what tag, and then later this weekend I hope to do the other tag that Mark recently did. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get going in these questions. So the what tag. The first question: what is the oldest book that you own? This is the one question on the entire list where I can't really give you an exact book because I don't know the copyrights of all of them, and I know I have a lot of them from the 1800s, and I do have one book from the 1700s, but I can't even for the life of me think of what the title of that book is. It's the late 1700s. It's not like it's like super old, but it's the late 1700s, and like I said, I got lots of them from the 1800s. That's the oldest book, even though I'm not giving you a title. I apologize for that. Let's see, second question. What is the most sentimentally valuable book that you own? Okay, so when my wife and I have like Valentine's Day anniversaries and stuff like that, in my family, I'm well known for, like, when I get her cards, the well thought out messages and stuff. That's kind of my thing, and she always struggles with it. She gives me a pretty short message, and she's always telling me that I just not very good at that. Well, there was one, and I don't remember if it was Valentine's Day or our anniversary. I can't remember which one it was. The book's upstairs, so I couldn't double check it, but it was a book of poetry. And I'm not real into poetry, but she had went through and she had bought a used book of poetry, and it had some a love poem that was that she had marked out, and she had done a more of an elaborate gift for me. And she knows I love books, and she was trying to be sentimental, and so that one has a lot of value for me. It's like I said, it's upstairs in the upper room. All the girls are asleep right now, so I didn't want to. All these books are upstairs in the upper room, and I didn't want to wake them up, so I apologize for that. But the book of poetry. Third question: what was the last book you gave someone as a gift? Okay, so earlier this week, and it's not so much, I don't even know if I'd call it a gift. I mean, it is, but it's not like a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or something like that. But earlier this week, my fellow high school teacher who does history, he loves teaching about the Vietnam War in that era. And so I had recently come across it's like a big old, almost coffee table size book of the Vietnam War. It's like an eyewitness to the Vietnam War. It's not like DK Publishers' Eyewitness. It was more of an adult eyewitnesses, had a lot of pictures and a whole lot of accounts of what happened during the Vietnam War. And I gave that to him earlier in the week because I know he enjoys it, and then he could probably use some of it with his kids in class. Next question is, what book has given you a sleepless night? And there's been a couple of these that kind of just weirded me out. I don't read a whole lot of horror just because my mind is active and it just gets to going and then I can't sleep. I know I could tell you stories when I read Stephen King's oh, good night. What's the Red Rum, Red Rum? And now I can't think of the book. So anyway, there's a passage in the beginning of that when that made my mind spin. And then, but the book I'm going to give you, because I do remember the name of it, is This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti. And it was all about the spirit world, and it's a Christian book, but it's about the spirit world and how spiritual battles between good and evil. And there's a scene in there, or several scenes in there, where the evil spirits have come into the room and they're attacking whoever that person is that they're talking about in the book. And there's another one where they're if I remember correctly, they're sitting in church and those spirits are right there, and it just weirded me out. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night because I'd been dreaming and looking up at the ceiling fan and looking over in the corners of the room and looking in the closet. And I'm a grown adult. So it kind of weirded me out. But anyway, This Present Darkness. So next question is, what 3 literary characters would you most like to have dinner with and why? Now, I was struggling with this a little bit just because I was thinking fictional characters, who would I want to have dinner with? And I started going through the books, and then I shot my language arts teacher a message and said, does literary characters have to be fictional characters? And she said, I don't think so. She had no idea why I was asking, but it was because I had this tag in my head. And she said, no, nonfiction characters could be literary characters as well. And she gave me an explanation. I didn't understand it, but I was like, okay, so if I had a dinner party, who would I like to have at my dinner party? It would be Abraham Lincoln. He would be sitting at the table. The man, not only did he live an interesting life, but, you read accounts of him, he can tell a great story. And so he could entertain everyone through the whole night with just story upon story upon story and make you laugh, and I love to laugh. So I would have Abraham Lincoln. I would also have Benjamin Franklin. He led a just awesome life. The adventures that he went on during his life, I call him the Renaissance man of the Revolutionary period. He had his hands in just about everything in the American colonies, and I just think he'd have some really good stories to tell. Not to mention when he went to Paris, and I know he's got some stories from Paris. So now, fictional characters, I think I'll stick with my Grishams, and maybe I'm going to bring over a couple extra people to my dinner party. But the Jake Bridges novels by John Grisham, and I would bring over Jake Bridges and his former boss, Lucian Wilbanks, and his buddy, Harry Rex Vonner. Those 3 guys would be a hoot. If you read his Bridges novels, they oftentimes sit up late into the night having a drink and eating takeout or whatever it is, and the funny stuff that's said back and forth, and I can imagine how much funnier it would get if the books, I know he's not putting everything into the books, obviously, and I think that those conversations could get even funnier as they get some more liquid courage. So anyway, let's move to the next question. The next one is, what book would you most like to live in for a year? And I got to thinking about this, and I was thinking Robinson Crusoe would be absolutely awesome. That would be cool. And I was thinking of some Civil War time period, American Revolution time period. But where my heart really was? My heart was with the book My Favorite Summer 1956 by Mickey Mantle. I love baseball. And so and not so much that I absolutely love the Yankees. I mean, I'll watch any baseball. I'm a Kansas City Royals fan, but I'll watch any team. But I would love to go back to the golden age of baseball right there in the 1950s. And, either as a player or as just a fan. I would absolutely love it in that golden age of baseball when everything was good, and I just think there would be so many stories if you were a player, so many stories in the locker room. That alone, but just the excitement over that summer as a fan would be absolutely awesome too. So if I got to live for a year in a book, I think that would be what I would want. My favorite summer, 1956. So live through the baseball season. All right, next one. What deceased author would you like to have resurrected and why? And absolutely love Steve Donahue's answer on this. It made me chuckle with how weird this question is. Bringing people back from the dead, and he was talking about zombies or something, and my mind never went to zombies until he said that. But anyway, if I was to bring back or maybe delay a death of an author, I think Michael Crichton. I think he still had many books that he could have put out, and I love Crichton. I love his fiction. I don't know if there's a book that I haven't liked of his. His science fiction is great. It just makes my mind wander, and I'm not all into science fiction like a lot of others, but his writing, it really gets me going, and I just love it. I think there were more books that could have been put out. Next question. What book turned out to be the biggest surprise for you? For me, it was last year. I told you science fiction. I don't read a lot of it, but I read H.G. Wells's The Time Machine. Excuse me. The Time Machine like totally blew me away. It's a really short novel, but just the way they attacked it and the way they used the current events to tie into the story, and you know, talking about the rich versus the poor and society as a whole. It was really interesting, and it's a book that I'm going to go back and revisit sometime, and the story has stuck with me. So it's been my biggest surprise because I didn't know how I would like it. Next question. What book that has already been published do you wish you had written? Okay, so this is a book that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, but I really wish I would have read that or wrote the Harry Potter series. I would love to have the income from those books. I was looking it up, 500 million copies sold, and that is more than 150 million more than the next set of books or next book. And so that's a lot of sold books. So I would love to have been the writer of that storyline and have the income coming in, and of course all the movie rights and all of the other stuff that comes from that series of books. But anyway, you know, just think about it. You put that out there, and then you could just permanently retire and read for the rest of your life. You could make reading your job. That would be awesome. So anyway, last question. What book has had the most influence or impact on your life so far? And for me, I have to go clear back to when I was in the first grade and I picked up my dinosaur books for the first time. My dinosaur books allowed me to escape reality and just kind of go into another, into the dinosaur universe and ignore the outside world. And it showed me my love of reading for the first time. Really, I was engrossed in that. And yeah, it's been all downhill from there. It's or not downhill, but I mean it's picked up speed, and I've just loved reading ever since. And so those are probably the most influential and had the biggest impact because they got me to reading. So BookTube, this has been the What Tag. Again, it was done by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis, and I saw it on Vin's channel, the Revenant Reads. Saw many other videos of this. I'm not going to list all of them, but everybody's been doing this one. It's been going around, so I thought I'd get my version out. So thank you for watching. I hope everyone's having a great day. Stay safe, and fingers crossed for maybe sometime warm weather will come around and actually stay. So as always, happy reading.